Welcome back, Saber fans. Tony here from Rowan Sabers, and today another install review for you. If you're new to the channel, I do install, repair, and review these sabers, so please like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a website, rownsabers.com, where you can find all my finished products and sound fonts. And so if you're interested in that, link will be in the description below. So here we have a kind of a special video. I don't often review a lot of my own sabers, but I really wanted to, and a lot of people asked me to do a review on my high ground that I installed, as well as a full teardown of the high ground saber itself. So what I'm going to do that is knock out both of them in one video and kind of talk to you about what I like, dislike, things I come across, all that jazz within one video. And I'll show you some of my fonts and stuff and what I installed it with and all that jazz. So if you haven't already, I did a comparison video of all of the thin neck sabers, episode 3, that were available to me that I had currently, showing all the comparisons, the installs, not installs, but like, you know, things you come across, what's more sturdy, all that jazz. So if you haven't already, definitely go check it out. It's a lot of insight on how they break apart and all that jazz. One thing I didn't do in that video that I should have is broke down the high ground saber itself fully, so you guys can see all that. At the time of that recording, I wasn't quite sure on how the saber broke down. I didn't want to break anything, and so now installing the saber, I now have, I knew exactly how the saber broke apart, making me more confident for this video here. So you have two high grounds here. One is the original normal prop that was actually used, so the auctioned prop neck, and then the other one you have here is the painted one that's supposed to symbolize the hero version, which is the gold and copper. Now, both are very, very accurate. Again, the dimensions on this saber are extremely solid, just like the neck, which is made out of steel. Again, the one that's the auction prop is the installed one. This one is the static one that I display. Now, I did, SP Sabers did have a run on the prestige version of the high ground, which comes with 3 necks, the auction prop, the clean painted one, and the Master Replicas version. The Master Replicas version is basically the same thing as the copper and gold. I said that backwards. Copper and gold. And then, basically, but the MR is metal, so it's actual brass, actual copper, and not chrome plated, but highly polished. I believe it might be chrome plated, but very good. So I bought one of those just because he's not doing another run of these sabers, and I thought, you know, why not have, you know, 3. This one, the one I installed initially, is going to be the one I use to beat up and stuff. You know, I'm not worried about denting it up. The other ones are going to be used for display. I might install a Neopix connector for this so I can use my removable chassis, and so, but other than that, so far this one's been my display one, and I'm kind of waiting for my prestige to kind of figure out. The idea there is I have one with each neck, which would be kind of cool. I might display the MR neck and have this one just kind of beside it or whatnot. But with this one, again, install was very, very simple. It has a removable chassis system. I'll show you off the emitter and jazz. I'll try to show you as best as I can the inside. Basically, you have a chassis designed by Solo Sabers. The STL file is available on SP Sabers website now if you want to print it off yourself. I actually have the tangible physical chassis because I bought the chassis earlier on whenever the saber first came out. So initially it had a Smuggler's Outpost speaker that was the dark version, which is supposed to be loud and bassy. I actually was too big because it was running into that bolt that was here. Now, when I do my teardown stuff, which I probably should do first, real quick for all you guys, initially when I installed it and stuff, the hinted vented pommel thing also threw me off because it came with a washer that didn't really make sense to me, or anything like that. So, we'll do a teardown first of my one that's not installed, just so you guys can see how it's taken apart. Now, again, it wasn't until after I installed it, or went to install it, that I figured out how everything breaks apart. So you have the emitter ring first, which is very, very nice, very much like the 7 chambers mom. You have a smaller little blade plug, which is very, very thin. If you have a thin PCB, the thin pins won't touch the top of this. Normally when you have a metal blade plug, you want to watch out for that. With this, you don't have to worry about it. You have the emitter itself, which does unscrew from the steel neck. It has several threads there, which isn't like the Monville Heroes. Again, during my comparison video, it has several threads there that attach to this. This is recessed in here, where you can put a PCB if you wanted to, which is very nice. And then you have the neck here, which this is in 2 pieces. Don't know if I'm going to take it apart, but it has an aluminum sheath over the steel. Let's see if I can take this out fully. There we go. And so this here, I can't separate. Okay, so it has a painted aluminum sheath here that's just for that part, and then the anodizing here for the upper neck is actually steel as well, and it fits in there very nicely, getting the full neck. So we have the emitter ring, the neck. Hopefully it doesn't roll. Okay, so then you have this grenade section. Now this grenade section screws off very easily, much like the Roman's Inception. for that there. And then the easier parts so far, or next up, would be this part here, the pommel. You do have a pommel cap. Now, initially people were asking how that worked exactly, and so it has a bolt that screws into this pommel, and if you wanted to make it vented for sound, like this one, it has a little ring or washer that goes in there, and then you tighten it down. Now, the speaker I have on it doesn't really have a problem with that. With other speakers, it might end up doing that. So you also have a little washer that goes there that helps keep the pommel flush with the machining, or the pommel, if you want it flush for display. Now, if you lose this little ring, any washer that will probably work for this. A very thin washer will work. I know some people end up losing it. Now, this button system here is a plunger system, which I shall show real quick. You'll take off this clamp card itself. SP Sabers, it says on the back, the High Ground. Very, very nice. That's probably backwards to you. And then you have this little plunger system. Now, this 1.5 millimeter screw has two screws in here, or Allen, I said 1.5 Allen. Has two screws here. You can unscrew both of them. That undoes the housing for this whole control box. Don't know how well you can see it, but this also has a few parts. So once you take off this initial chrome-plated control box, you have a little rocker that goes back and forth, and a single rod that goes inside there. And then you have two of those screws that actually go to this black box. The black box is painted, not anodized. At least that's what it looks like. And so, yeah. And then, of course, it leads you to this. Now, the biggest concern or confusion that I had when I first got it was I knew that some of the parts broke off, like the neck. I knew how the neck took apart. I wasn't sure how the booster section came off. And so, finally, when I installed it, I knew that there was a retention screw underneath here that you would unscrew, like so. Put that down. And then you could unscrew this. Oh, this might be hard to do because of the anodizing. But theoretically, you'd be able to unscrew this entirely. Yeah, there you go. And so, this threading's a bit messed up because I believe initially I tried to unthread it with this retention screw in. And so, yeah. And then, of course, you can take off the Cobra Tech if you wanted to. So that's how you take apart all the full pieces of the High Ground. Although it wasn't as organized as I would want it here on the desk. It's very, very clean, very, very nice. Now, again, with the install, it was very, very easy. All I had to do was basically install this removable chassis itself, and then I had to install a NeoPixel connector inside the emitter, and then after that, it was just making sure I coded all the fonts I wanted on it. And so making the Saber very, very install-friendly, even for those that aren't installers, I'm sure would be very apt to work on this Saber. One thing that I did find out within the realm of things is that you want to sand down the plungers here to get the best tactileness. What I was running into is while I installed it, there was a problem I had where the buttons were wanting to get pressed, or both of them at the same time, and I was getting color changing all the time. And so one thing that helps is to sand down those plungers that rock back and forth very easily. And so that's the only thing that I kind of ran into. Other than that, the only other thing you'd have to worry about with this chassis alone would be just making sure that you line up the buttons correctly. The buttons are on the side, so you want to make sure that those are lined up correctly. So yeah, let me get this finished real quick. So with the install itself, again, very easy. It has a Smuggler's Outpost NeoPixel pin connector that connects onside the chassis onto inside the grenade section and then to the emitter here. Now the emitter here, I end up using an actual 89 Sabers LWK3 NeoPixel connector for the inside. I was going to just use a flat PCB, but since it had that little lip for the PCB connector, I thought why not use something that also has a lip, which the OWK3 NeoPixel connector lips or holders have that. I actually had an Echo NeoPixel connector in here, mainly because I didn't want anything too fancy for my fonts or my Saber. This again is going to be something that I'm able to swing around and have fun with. One thing that you will note is that the emitter on the 1-inch isn't true to 1-inch. It actually is a bit larger, and so thicker blades tend to work a lot better. And so, but again, removable battery, positive up top, negative on bottom, stock, not stock, Smuggler's Outpost connector, Profi running 6.7, and then this is now installed with a custom Saber Shop speaker, which is their like equivalent to Smuggler's Outpost, normal 28mm elite speakers. And so one thing I did also is I marked on the chassis to line up with this grip section here to make sure I knew where the buttons were. And so yeah. Now, again, one thing I did notice, too, amongst this install is that originally the emitter cap did muffle a lot of the sound, but switching speakers helped a lot. And so, yeah, what I'm going to do now is turn off the light and then show off some of the fonts and then continue to talk about it. So, alright. So with this, I actually use this as my daily saber now. I go and swing it around. I have fun with it. I don't really have any like problems with it. I did end up taking this to Planet Comic-Con, which you can watch a video of my review in the description below. Again, it was such a good saber to have on me, you know, carry around, all that jazz. And me as an Obi Wan fan, this is like my favorite saber ever, you know. So props to Seven Chambers and all that jazz for producing such a wonderful saber.
This is General Kenobi.
This is my first sound font. There's a few mixes amongst all this. My Force Effects, Kyrophonics fonts, K-Sith's fonts. Tons of stuff on here that I've mixed up to make the best Obi-Wan, you know, story. And so this is the Clone Wars version. This is a mixture of K-Sith's font, the Clone Wars font, and then some of my Force Effects, and a Clone Wars track. Very loud. I'll turn off the track for now. This is a light cyan blue. Top one being power, bottom one being aux. Force Effects that I made.
Now! Good work, Cody. In a few minutes, there won't be anything left to secure, Commander!
I think one of the best parts that, with this saber is that I was able to show James Arnold Taylor, the actor who did Obi-Wan, these Force Effects, and he absolutely loved it. He was smiling, laughing, because they're his voice lines, and so very, very funny.
In a few minutes, there won't be anything left to secure, Commander!
And so he was having a blast with that. Next up.
Your move.
This is not TPM Obi. This is Mace by K-Sith, but I modified it to be a Clone Wars inspired sound font.
Follow my lead.
I put all of my B-Fob, Obi-Wan quotes and preons and blasts, multi-blast sounds all within the font. So you get some preons in there.
Your move.
Force Effects.
I've seen this sort of thing before. Alright then, nothing too fancy. I'm not sure I've made your acquaintance. Sorry for the mess. Another hired gun.
Yeah.
Typical.
And so, multi-blast begin.
Blasters? Well, no accounting for taste, is there?
You just swing your saber. Then get out of it, tap once more.
It's a shame absorbing blaster fire isn't part of the Jedi training.
A lot of fun.
Blasters? Well, no accounting for taste, is there?
And
you should lay down your weapons and beg for forgiveness.
A lot of fun stuff on here. This also has the Clone Wars track on there, and so... Lightning block. Some of the buttons where you have to press and hold for color changing or lightning block can be a bit tricky, but again, sanding down the plungers help a lot. So this is lightning block. Nope, not lightning block.
Let's get a move on. We've got a battle to win here.
Do it quick, so hold. There we go. With this saber alone, it can actually change blade styles because it's running Profi 6.7, and so you can change blade styles on the editor itself on the saber while it's live, and so you gotta be careful with that with this saber. So, next up.
Obi-Wan, I need your help.
For all those that have seen my Obi-Wan episode 3, OWK3 that I had originally, which I have sold now, I had a font on there that was Satine's death, and it was very emotional and stuff like that, and of course I had to add it to the High Ground saber. So this is a same Mace-inspired sound font with Clone Wars, Force Effects, and stuff on there. This has Satine's death on there. Oh, it has Mandalorian blasters.
You should have chosen the dark side, Master Jedi. Your emotions betray you.
Don't listen to him, Obi.
Quiet.
The Night Sisters made it for you.
Silence. You think you know me? It was I who languished for years, thinking of nothing but you. It is more powerful than you know.
And those who oppose it are more powerful than you'll ever be.
This has the Satine, or Maul Breaks Obi-Wan track, which was seen in my original install. Very sad. Moving on.
Hello there.
This is Bold One by K-Sith. This is the Obi-Wan episode 3, I guess part 1 is how you could call it. So it has the General Grievous versus Kenobi track on there.
So uncivilized.
So yeah, tons of Force Effects from the beginning.
So uncivilized.
Of the film.
You are a bold one.
Chancellor Palpatine, Sith Lords are our speciality.
Next up,
Anakin has turned to the dark side.
this is the Order 66 version, or part 2, I should say, of the Kenobi story for Episode 3.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
Next up,
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
so this is the battle between Obi Wan and Anakin, and then of course has a Prion.
You will try.
Very nice. Next up, this is The Knight and the Dragon by Lord Blanco. This is an Obi-Wan font when from the tales of some book about Obi-Wan fighting a Krayt dragon on Tatooine. For all you Kenobi fans out there, or at least the TV show that's coming out, this would be a pretty good font to snag. So he seduces the Krayt dragon in the book, which is very interesting, very Kenobi. This has an ambient Krayt dragon soundtrack. Oh. So, yeah. Sands of Tatooine. Next up.
Ben Kenobi?
This has OB4 V2 by Kyberphonic. This is the Cantina version. Nice unstable on and white swing. It's a deeper blue than the Knight and the Dragon blade style.
Let's just say we'd like to avoid any inferior entanglements. Jungle and wastes are not to be traveled lightly.
This has the Force theme as the track. Moving on.
You can't win, Darth.
This is the Death Star version of OB4 V2 by Kyberphonic. Yes, Kyberphonic. So it sounds a bit deeper, different.
Using that new BT-16.
It has Death Star ambience in the background.
What was that?
Oh, if I can turn it.
That's nothing. Outgassing, don't worry.
Imperial troops have entered the base. Imperial troops have entered.
So this is the modern saber by Ronin Sabers, by me. This is original trilogy blue saber kind of style or sound font. Same blade style except a lighter blue. Does have a track on there as well. This is track from the not Heir to the Empire, Shadows of the Empire. Next up, last but not least, I've got passive battery monitor, and of course, this is the rescue font from K-Sith. Mainly because I wanted to have some type of font on there that's different than the rest and all blue blades, and so a green Luke Skywalker font is always a good way to switch up things. Also kind of sounds like original trilogy Obi. So yeah. So that concludes my review for the High Ground Saber, both kind of tear down and install for my saber. I hope you enjoyed it. I will enjoy these sabers as well. Have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.